One of my favorite things is I can see my carbon fiber air bridge and I can see my intake through it, so that all looks really cool. How's it going, guys? My name is Chase Farrow, and today I'm doing probably the most intimidating modification that I've ever done on this car. Today, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be installing a Trackspec hood vent on the hood of the C506. Now, as you can see, I've already got the template measured out and put in place. What I did is I found the center line by measuring from corner to corner there, divided that in half, got this point right here, did the same up there at, I don't know if you can see those white marks on the tape, and got the center point there. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the car out of the garage, put it in the driveway, and then I'm gonna take the hood off, bring it in here, and we'll get to work. All right, so I got the car moved out there. The hood is here on the floor. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a look at the instructions that Trackspec sent. They're pretty in depth. Now I've already followed the first section of it when I put the template on the car. So now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go over this and see exactly what we need to do from here. Now this, like point B, all this stuff here is in reference to the side vents, which I did not get because I didn't want to cut my wheel wells. One of the things you have to watch out for if you do decide to do that is just know your tires will pick up rocks. It will sling them through the vents. A lot of cars that have vents like that have a tendency to, they'll throw rocks backwards at your windshield, stuff like that. It's annoying, so I didn't want to go that route. So now here's where we're at. We're at the point where it's time to start drilling, remove any and all heat shielding and fix the underside of the hood. That's already done. Optional, using a 3/8 inch drill bit, drill through the hood, top and bottom skin, support rib, at each corner of the dashed cut lines on all three templates. So I only have the one template, so we can disregard the other two. Using a cutoff wheel, a jigsaw can only be used if optional step 2 has been performed. Now here's the thing. I didn't want to use a jigsaw or a sawzall or anything like that, especially not a sawzall, because of the way that they oscillate, they have a tendency to grab and just tear at the fiberglass, and I didn't want to do that. I did see a video, I can't remember who it was, but I will post a screenshot of it here so you can watch his if there's anything that I missed. What I'm going to do is use an oscillating multi-tool with a general purpose oscillating blade. I am a little bit concerned that the fiberglass might wear the blade out pretty quickly, but I think since all I'm cutting around is just this guy right here. Now, one of the last things is a mask. You want a respirator or a mask. Ideally, if you have a respirator, you should use that. I don't, so I'm just using a mask. So the last thing I'm going to be using is this guy, which is just a standard Quinn rib gun, because what you're going to do is after you get it all cut out, you actually rivet it into the hood. But anyways, that's about enough talking. Let's see if we can not screw this up. Okay, so I just finished cutting the hood. Here's how the hole turned out. I had a little bit of trouble, a little bit of a pain to get through the spine, as you can see on either side. It's a little bit difficult, but I ended up flipping the hood over and finishing cutting it that way. I think it turned out relatively cleanly. Unfortunately, this got a little bit chewed up because whenever I was coming around the corners, it felt like it was wanting to like grab, like bite into the fiberglass, and it was kind of yanking. But we got through it. That's the scariest part of this whole ordeal. So now I guess let's see if the louver fits. Hopefully I didn't screw this up.
A few minutes later.
Okay, so I just test fit it. I did have to do a little bit more trimming. You got these two back strakes here. Well, you can't really see them at the moment, so I'm going to slide forward. So you have these pieces right here that didn't quite want to clear, so I took a little bit more material out. Now it slides back just fine. But yeah, looks like this has been a success. I will say down here, I'm going to clean that up. I'm going to sand some of that out, make that look not so messy in there. But yeah, for now, it looks good. And I'm looking forward to getting this thing all finished up and mounted so I can see it on the car itself. But for now, I'm gonna continue working. I've got some other things to also clean up. Some of it I might do off camera just because you don't need to really see all of it. So I will come back whenever there's an update. Okay, so I just finished sanding this section right here. It's not super smooth. It's not perfect. It still needs some work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drill the main holes here and here so I can center and line up the vent. And then after I do that, I will start taking some of this out and I'll actually start really cleaning that up and seeing what I can do with it. So. Okay, so it's actually the next day. My battery on my camera died and I thought I was close to completion. So I was like, you know what? I'll just finish up what I'm doing and then I will go grab a new battery and I'll kind of fill in then, you know, what you guys missed. Long story short, it went completely off the rails last night and I ended up having a bunch of trouble with it. Now, the cut was fine. The hood, you know, all that was great. It fit fine. The problem is I started running into issues. I don't know if it's the rivets that they supplied weren't very good. I don't know if it's that my riv gun just sucks. I mean, that might very well be the case, but I was having a really high failure rate with the rivets. I was lucky if 1 out of every 3 was actually, you know, working the way it was supposed to. But it is on there. It's just missing a couple of rivets. So why don't we go ahead, we take a look at how it turned out. I've still got some tape on the hood, so forgive that. It's a little bit messy. But as far as the appearance goes, it looks great. I absolutely love it. And one of my favorite things is I can see my carbon fiber air bridge and I can see my intake through it, so that all looks really cool. But the front view looks really good. So I'm definitely excited about that. I did run into a slight issue and I can't really show you the underside, but I can show you right here. These strakes, and you can probably kind of see, are actually in contact with my air bridge, what I did was I put some trim on it so it's not that bad. I did have to take a pretty decent amount of material off of the bottom of these strakes to make it fit. Now, unless you have one of these carbon fiber air bridges, one of these larger air bridges as well, you're not going to have that issue. It's just kind of ironic because I was so worried about whether or not it was going to clear this BTR intake. I didn't even think about my air bridge. But other than that, it fits. I think I got it on there straight. And it does look really good. As you can also probably see, I elected to get the optional gurney flap on the front. Now, one of the things with the gurney flap is this part isn't riveted down. They supply some bolts, and let's see, I don't know if you can see that in there, but it's actually got bolts with nuts on it. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how it turned out. So now I'm actually going to do the last thing that it takes to get my car all put back together, and that is I'm going to put this thing on. Now, if you saw my last video, I mentioned that my garage broke my rocker panel and messed up my fender. Well, unfortunately, it took the mount where the rocker mounts to the fender. So that obviously creates the problem of not being able to mount my fender right, not being able to align everything. But I do have a solution, and that is this guy right here. So this is a rocker panel repair piece from ACI. I had a lot of trouble trying to track one of these down. I finally got a hold of them. They made me one and sent it. What it does is it effectively just goes on the inside here, but it just creates a new mount for you, and then you can mount your fender. So I think what I might do is I might use JB Weld at first. That's not all I'm going to use, but I think what I'll do is I'll use JB Weld to set it, and then I will actually either use rivets or I will bolt it on. I haven't decided yet, because what I want to do is I want to minimize the visibility of the repair piece as much as I possibly can. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing bonded on there. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole through it, and I'm going to get this thing on there. I'm probably not going to show a whole lot of that process. All I'm doing is I'm sticking JB Weld on there, and I'm sticking it to the inside of that rocker. So that's not really complicated. But then, if everything goes well, I'll finally be able to put my fender back on, front bumper will go back on, filler plate will go back on, and the car's back together. So let's see what we can do. All right, so I got the rocker panel repair kit on there. Like I said before, I used JB Weld at first, and then now that it's actually been a day, I'm going to drill 2 holes in it, probably 1/8 inch, and I'm gonna run a couple of rivets, and I think that should secure it pretty well. Now, before we get the car put back together, my buddy Steven has my driver's side fender, because I showed you before, it had some scratches in it from the initial incident. He's got it right now. He's gonna wet sand it today, and he's also gonna polish up the hood and make that look a little bit cleaner now that it's back on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the car, I'm gonna drive on over to the car wash, spray it off, that way it's easier to clean, and we'll head over there. Let's go. All right, so we just got here to Steven's house, and we are going to be, like I said before, wet sanding the fender. He's already got it here, and we're gonna be polishing it up and cleaning up the hood and everything, because unfortunately, the reality of doing anything like, oh man, I hope that, oh my God, that's scratch. Oh no. I don't know, the blade must have just like skimmed it or something.
That one right there is pretty deep. You might be able to get that one out by hand, but that little nick right there probably not going to come out.
That sucks. You can also see more in the sunlight here what I was talking about before, where it really got into this paint. So hopefully the wet sanding will be able to take a lot of that out. The underside of this is super ugly, but one of the next steps on the car is to go wide body, so I'm not really concerned about that too much. The unfortunate reality is that anytime you have a car with this little ground clearance, you're gonna have, unfortunately, ugly undersides. In fact, one of the things that stood out to me, my buddy Dan had a McLaren MP412C. It was a beautiful car, but the thing he hated the most about it was because that bottom part of the car is part of the door whenever you would open it, you could see like how torn up the underside of the door was from scraping and bottoming out. And unfortunately, it doesn't matter how nice the area that you live in is, you're gonna eventually scrape. You're gonna have things like that happen. I think that might be one of the reasons he got rid of it, to be honest. But the underside of mine's gonna be covered up with a splitter anyways, so the side splitters, I mean, so I'm not that worried about it. But anyways, unfortunately, whenever you do any kind of modification like this, the reality is no matter how careful you are, you're gonna have little scratches and little stuff. Anytime you take a body part off of a car, I mean, it's really difficult to keep little tiny scratches and little surface stuff from happening. So that's why we're here. So now what we're gonna do, I keep saying we. Now what Steven is gonna do.
Yeah, get it right.
What Steven is gonna do, and what I'm gonna watch him do, is we're gonna go ahead and take care of the hood and see if we can get some of these, I don't know if they're showing up on camera, but some like, I've got some like perma water spots, which is, you said it was just sediment buildup.
Yeah, that's the number one cause of it, is just hard water.
Yeah, which
why most detailers will use RO water because there's no sediment.
Yeah.
So you can let it go dry out in the sun and it's not gonna have water spots at all.
Dang.
Plus, for ceramic coated cars, if you use RO water, it beads off the car a lot better because it's not doesn't have anything within the actual water itself to grip to anything.
So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna get to work on this, and well, by we I mean I'm gonna stand here and hand him what he needs, and I'm gonna let him.
Pro manager.
That's right. All right, so Steven just got finished polishing it. I brought it out of the sun because this is insane how much difference that made. I mean, no one's gonna notice that. Yeah, I mean, you have to be looking for it, and if you're looking for it, that's your fault. So if you don't want to see it, don't look for it. But yeah, I mean, that turned out way better than I expected it to be honest. That's pretty incredible. But on that note, I mean, it looks fantastic. I mean, you can see in the video, you can see just it just shines off of it. It is amazing that it is a 20-year-old car, and this is 20-year-old paint. So I'm definitely stoked about how it turned out, and it looks awesome. And I cannot thank Steven enough. He did a badass job. Now I just got to take the car home, and it's time to start reassembling it. So I know it doesn't seem like it to you guys because it's only been a couple of videos, but this has been like a month-and-a-half long, almost 2-month long ordeal where the car has been torn apart, and I want to drive it again. I want to enjoy it again, and I want to not be depressed every time I look at it. So I'm gonna get it put back together today. I'm gonna go ahead and take it home. I'm gonna get that done. And at the end of the video, the guys that are here to see the Trackspec vent install and what that looks like, I'll be sure to have some nice shots of it at the end so y'all can see what it looks like. So on that note, let's go back to my house.
The next day.
All right, so it is the next day. The car is back here in the garage and it's put together. I was up pretty late last night trying to get the body back on. Not because putting the body together is terribly difficult, but if you don't know, anytime you take that much of a body off of one of these cars, you have to spend a pretty significant amount of time trying to realign panels and get the gaps all right again. But it's done, it's ready, so let's have a look at it.